Alright, hi guys. Pattern-collections.com is where you want to go if you want to find out more about CPT, which is creative pattern tangling, or if you want to find out more about Carlos Cano Lanzadera and his stuff, click here. Or if you want to know how you can support this website, it's not my website, it's Ina's website. You can go to, click on here to ebooks, and you can purchase her books. The proceeds for those books go directly to maintaining the price of the website, because it's not free. She gives it out for free, but the website itself is not free. She's paying for hosting, right? And all of that she does. So, you know, support her by paying for her ebooks. I appreciate that. And then you go down here to Pattern Focus is where you're going to find today's pattern. And, whoops, that was yesterday's. No. I don't know what it's doing. Okay. What is Google doing? I don't want Google. Okay. So, Calantha, and we recently did this. I just looked it up 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago we did this pattern, so I'm not entirely sure why we're doing this pattern again, but maybe there was a reason. So I'm going to try to do it in a different way than I did it the first time. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to apply some creative pattern tangling to this pattern, and so you can see how we can do something different with the step out and make it something else. I haven't tried that yet, but you know what? I don't like doing the same thing 2 times in a row very close together, so we're going to try that. So the first thing that this pattern shows us to do it is going to be, I'll show you all the step outs just like I always do, but we're going to draw it differently. No, I'm going to draw it differently. You can draw it however you want. First thing is to do a 5 petal like a daisy, and then aura around that. Okay, and then coming off of each one of those, we're going to come up and do this sort of a 3-pointed leaf shape, and then around that an aura again. So it comes out like this, and it looks like this. And I was trying to find my one I just did. You'll have to go back through my videos. I was looking through my pile of recent art, all of these. Oh, was that it? Ha! Look at there. I was going to say I couldn't find it, but there it is. So that's what I did just recently, right? I did these 2, and then I did like a half of one. I like it. I think it's beautiful, but I want to do something different. I don't want my tiles to all look the same. So I'm going to apply principles of creative pattern tangling, which is doing what if. And the first what if I'm going to do is, what if we start with a different shape here? What if it's not a rounded daisy-like shape? What if instead we do like a spiky triangular type shape in the middle, and then go around it with another aura of a spiky triangular shape, and then instead of doing a spiky shape out here, we do a more rounded shape out here. So I'm going to swap out the spikies and the rounds and see what this pattern looks like when we do that. So let's give that a go. Turn on my light. Give myself a little border. I do like in this pattern what I did here with how the pattern sticks out above the border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make my border a little bit further in So I have some space there for in case some of the petals decide to pop out of the border, they can do so. Because I do like that look. I've always liked that look, and that doesn't look straight. You know what? Maybe I'll do them crooked. Oh, I'm going to do that on purpose, crooked. Hang on a second. My table keeps, it's a folding table, this little table that I'm working on, and it wants to fold up for some reason. I'm going to on purpose make my border a little cattywampus. Oops. Like that. That one I don't like. Don't like what happened to that one. Let's try again. There we go. What if my border wasn't straight? Cool. Okay. So, come on. My phone has turned itself around so I can't see it. There it is. Okay. So we're going to do a 5-pointed something, but instead of doing roundy daisy-like shape, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. More like a triangles. So let's start with a spiky shape instead of a roundy shape. Like that. And then coming out of here, instead of coming up and doing that kind of a spiky shape, I'm going to come up and do a more roundy shape. Like that. And then just like we did on the other one, do that. Laura, you're a little close. I'm going to zoom you out so you can see what I'm doing. Just like that. See how that's different? But they were basically drawn just backwards from each other. This one's got the spiky shape with a roundy shape, and that one's got a roundy shape with a spiky shape. So they're still like the same pattern. I'm going to do that again here. Like that. And I'm going to be inspired by my own drawing here and do a half a one right there. So I did it with 3, so I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to do it with 3 somehow. 1, 2, 3. Like that. Something like that. Something like that. So I've got a similar composition. Actually, it's almost exactly the same composition. And I'm going to actually embellish them the same way I did this one. I'm going to shade it in the same manner. I'm going to embellish the middles, and I'm going to put the little stripes. I'm going to do it exactly the same, just like backwards. I think that will look really just right. Perfect. I should do a question. Next question. How did you first learn about tangling? Get started drawing art background. Katie S. and Audrey Vokaper, Judith Brumett, and Linda Joan Inman have all asked that question. How did I first learn about tangling or get started in my art background? I've been drawing like my whole life. I think I was born with a crayon in my hand, to be honest with you. I can't remember a time that I didn't draw or color or paint. It's like in my blood. But tangling, I found on accident as I was perusing the internets in 2014, or was it 2013? Oh, I don't remember now. Was it either in 2013 or 2014? I don't recall. It's been a few years. We were doing, I think it was 2013. We were doing a women's retreat. I was on the committee at church to do the women's retreat, and I was tasked, silly me, because of the fact that I constantly doing art, with doing the art project. And some years we've done all sorts of various things at the church women's retreats. One year we did mosaics, one year we did collaging, we did painting on flower pots. We've done all sorts of fun little artsy, crafty things. And the theme for that year's retreat was prayer. And so I started just kind of oh, I know. It was the guest speaker, the pastor who was our guest speaker. She had asked me, because we were kind of getting together and planning out the retreat, and she says, well, have you heard of, because I wanted to theme my craft around prayer somehow. And she says, well, have you ever heard of praying in color? I hadn't. And she said it was fabulous. It was a way to use markers or crayons or whatever, and to put your prayer request down on a page and color while you're praying. And I thought that was fabulous. Who wouldn't want to pray while they are coloring? That just, oh, I was so excited. And so I Google searched praying with color, or praying in color. It's praying in color or praying with color. Let me search it really quick. Okay, Google. Praying in color.
According to Google Books, praying in color can take as little or as much time as you have or want to commit, from 15 minutes to a weekend retreat.
There we go. So you can Google that, praying in color, and you will get the book by Sybil Macbeth. And while I was researching her stuff, I was looking at Google images of people's art that they were doing while they were doing the praying in color technique. And I found all these people doing patterning. And that is where I stumbled across Zentangle and the other Tangle groups, Facebook groups and so forth. And I originally was incorporating my patterns and color and prayer, and I did it all like stuck all together in a big mishmash. We did do the praying in color at the retreat. That came out really good, but I really wanted to explore the patterns more, because praying in color really has nothing really actually to do with patterns, unless you are particularly doodling about, you know, your prayer. It could just, praying in color could just be writing down the people's names in various colors in your prayer journal, you know. So it had really nothing to do specifically with patterns. But that's where I found it. It was a God thing. And I became obsessed with the patterns. I joined Mildred Gallagher's group, Zentangle Explorations, and learned so much from her. She was what I would consider the forerunner to what Ina's doing and CPT, because she constantly and consistently asked the question, what if? What if I take the pattern Muka and put it in a grid? What if I did this? What if I did that? She, to me, was the queen of the what if. And she would have absolutely adored Ina and what Ina and Nicole are doing with CPT. She would have totally embraced it. Sadly, we lost her. Yeah. But she was my mentor. And her artwork was not necessarily the best. She had physical limitations. She was very sick. And so her drawings were not stellar. but her creativity and her design ideas and her thought process and her enthusiasm was so contagious, and she was just had a joy for patterns and for teaching patterns, and it was just lovely to I feel very blessed to have ever been her friend. Yeah. When we lost her, it was devastating. I'd never physically met her before. I only knew her through our group and through our friendship online. But I was devastated when she passed. Myself and Jackie, we were both beyond, there's no words. But anyway, if you want to look up Millie, she didn't like, she was Mildred online, but she went by Millie. Do a Google search for Muka Maven. You will still find her blog because, to be honest, she had no family to kind of take over her social media. So it's just still kind of just out there. Nobody turned it off or blocked it or anything. It's just kind of sitting there. But you could go to Muka Maven. I believe it's a Blogspot blog. And you can see all of her creations and how early on she was doing this same sort of thing. What if? What if I do this to this pattern? What if I do that to that pattern? Okay, so that's similar to what I did here, right? And now I'm going to shade and put in the white pencil and do my border. And then I'm going to call it Calantha CPT. And I decided that it's living in a different orientation. See, I've got now, even though it's the same composition, I gotta go zoom out a little bit so you can see them both. It's the same composition. See how I've got the one in the front, the next one, and then the three, one in the front, the next one, and the three. But I chose to have this one living this way. That's how I'm choosing to have it go. And I want a nice big fat border, just like I did the other one. But I want this cattywampus border. I like this idea. Like that. Oh, that's cool. I do like that. So all I did was do what if. What if? So you just ask those questions to yourself, and you will be surprised what you can do with a simple pattern. It doesn't have to be from a complex pattern. You can do it with a simple pattern. This is how I shaded that one. I'm going to shade them the same too, in the same way. I went around the middle. got a little carried away there. I have some color where I don't want it. So I'm going to take my kneaded eraser and just make myself a little tiny tip so I can get in there where I don't want that pencil. Like that. And then this is overlapping here, so it's going to get a nice dark thing, and over here where this is overlapping is going to get a nice dark thing, and here is overlapping, right? And this is sort of touching right there, just a little shading, not much, right there. And then get me my bonding stump. Blend that all out, blend this out. I don't know if I made that too dark or not. I might have overdone. If I think I got a little carried away with my graphite, I can come back in with my kneaded eraser and I can just tap, and I may just do that because I think I might have gotten a little heavy with my pencil. Let's see. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think maybe on this one I got a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my kneaded eraser, I'm going to kind of pull it like this to get a clean spot. And then I'm just going to dab. I'm not going to erase. I'm just going to dab. And I'm just going to take off a little tiny bit of the graphite. You might not even notice, but I can tell a difference in depth and darkness, especially on that one where I did a little bit more. And just got rid of just a teeny tiny bit of that. So it's still there. It's just a little bit lighter. And then, how did I do this? Looks like I used the white pencil here. And around there. Oh, there's still pencil there. I don't want that. Ugh, now I can really see it because I put the white on top of it. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Do that over here too. Okay, let's try again. That's better. Like that. I need to do another question while I'm coloring. Let's see. Next question. How long have you been married? How did you meet? Was it love at first sight? There we go. A non-art question. We have been married 34 years. We'll do our 35th wedding anniversary cruise in March. We have some friends coming with us to celebrate our 35th anniversary. That will be fun. I love to cruise. We met in college. It was not love at first sight. We were in bowling class together. For some reason, we still had to take PE in college. I thought I was done with PE by the time I got to college. I thought, oh good, high school's over, we don't have to have PE anymore. We're now adults, we can choose what physical activities we want to do. No, we still had to do PE. But we could do more interesting PE because we were grown-ups and we could travel to off-site locations. So they offered things like archery and different classes that were much more interesting than running track or swimming, which is basically only choices we kind of had in high school. Volleyball, running track, and swimming. That was pretty much it. A few others, but mostly that was it. Running track was the big one. I was not interested in that. So I went to bowling class. And we met at the local bowling lane that was closest to the I went to junior college first, and it was closest to the college. And he was on another team, and he kind of liked me, I kind of liked him, but he thought I had a boyfriend because there was this other guy who was hitting on me like all the time and made me super uncomfortable. And nowadays, you know, you'd be able to go to the coach, the bowling league coach, the school person, and say, you know, this dude will not leave me alone. You need to tell him to stop because he's harassing me. Back then, you didn't have that option. It was not considered harassment. It was just some guy who really had the hots for somebody, right? So I had to fend for myself. And the way I fended for myself was that I told him I had a boyfriend, which I didn't, but we remained friends. He was a friend of, he had been my boyfriend, and we had remained friends after we broke up. It really had nothing to do with our relationship, so, you know, he was cool. And so I told him, my ex-boyfriend, I told him I was going to use your picture, because we had pictures of us at the prom and stuff like that, and I was going to use your picture to tell this dude, you know, I have a boyfriend, and so, you know, back off. And so I did. I showed that photo to, you know, anytime that this same dude kept coming on to me, oh, you still have that boyfriend? Yes, I still have that boyfriend. See, look, here's our picture. It's in my wallet. I carry it with me all the time. And so my husband saw that interaction and thought, okay, well, she's got a boyfriend, then, you know, I'll just be nice to her, but, you know, I won't ask her out because she's got a boyfriend. And somewhere along the way, I ended up taking that class. We had to have, I don't remember how many units of PE we had to have, but they allowed you to take the same class more than once. So both my husband and I took that same bowling class, I don't know, 2 times, 3 times, I don't remember at this point. But somewhere along the way in the 2nd or 3rd class, we were sitting near each other, and it was like, oh, I wish this other guy, I told him, I wish this other guy would just leave me alone, you know. I've pretended to him that I have this boyfriend that I really don't have, but he's my ex-boyfriend, and I have pictures of us together, but he's my ex. And he went, oh, really? You mean you don't really have a boyfriend? And I went, no, I don't have a boyfriend, but I really need Bob to stay away from me. And so then he decided to ask me out, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend. And that really helped Bob to stay away from me, because then I had a boyfriend who was there with me. And yeah. So that's how we met. I met his family on our first date, which told me something about him. His family was extremely important to him. And whoever he was going out with was going to have to like his family. And that was unusual because, you know, most people don't introduce a boyfriend or a girlfriend to the family until after they've been dating for a while, right? At least in my opinion, that's how it's been, unless you happen to already know the family. There's been some guys I went out with that I already knew their family from church or whatever. So, you know, obviously I knew mom or whatever. But, you know, for the most part, most people didn't meet family until later in a relationship. Nope, I met them on the first date. It was a little awkward, but you know what? They were the sweetest people, and they totally just... His little brother, at the time, his little brother was 12. I believe he was 12, and he just like, are you going to come with us on this vacation? Are you going to do this with us? Are you going to do that with us? It was hilarious. And that's just how my husband's family is. They're, you know, once you become friends with them, you're like family, and you're invited everywhere, and it endeared me to him even more because I didn't necessarily have that growing up, and that role model of parents who were still together after all these years. Most of my friends, not all of them, but a lot of my friends came from divorced homes. That wasn't unusual, or single parent homes. And so seeing parents that were enduring for a long time was something that really attracted me. It was like, okay, so this guy, he's got his crap together because his family is together, and that family is important to him. So abandonment issues that I have kind of told me something about him and his family and their moral values, as that you know, you don't leave people just because you feel like it. You know, you stick it out. And that endeared me to him to no end. Not just, you know, the first date, but subsequent dates and engagement and marriage, and the fact that I've always felt like one of the brothers and sisters of his brothers and sisters. I've never felt like the in-law. I've always felt like the sister. And that is so important. Anyway, that has nothing to do with drawing, but you guys asked. You wanted to know. So I'm answering the questions as best I can. I will see you guys tomorrow. Go out and do something nice for somebody today. Invite those people who are not blood related into your home, into your heart, and treat them like family. You may never know how much that means to them. They may never be able to tell you. They may not understand themselves how much it really means to them to be accepted for who they are, faults and all, and to just be loved for no other reason other than the fact that you exist, and that somebody else in your family, your brother, your sister, your spouse, your cousin, they love you, so we love you. That's how my husband's family is. All of them. Extended family, cousins, people who say they're cousins who are not really cousins, but they call themselves cousins because they've always known each other. They're all like that. That once you're part of the family, you are part of the family. and it doesn't matter whether you're married in or not. And that is beyond exceptional and the way I want to treat others. I'm hoping I'm doing that. I don't know if I am able to do it to the extent that my husband's family does, but I'm hoping that's how I want to put that out in the world, and I'm hoping that's how I'm raising my son. Anyway, you guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow, and I've yammered on way too long. Bye.